Okay, let's see. Arm is good. 23. All right. Give me a second. It's gonna be. Let's see. There's some knowledge in here. I was watching like the first couple minutes and I was like, yo, I gotta watch this on stream because to put that out in the world, bro. Like, it's important to know your rights and everything. And it's like a lot of people really don't. It's crazy. Yeah, let's get it. Let's get it popping. Let's see what's good in here.
What was the last grade you completed in school? Sure, what? The last grade you completed in school? School, in high school, or whatever.
What
30
kind
years
of
in
question is that
college. 30
though?
years of college, okay.
I'm assuming that
And
this
they
video
automatically
is not
assumed
the
high
first
school.
true crime video you've watched, in which case, what I'm about to say will seem obvious. If you are a suspect of a crime, talking to the police will only make
Ah shit, Mario, come on, bruh. Damn. So now it's not fresh for you. Yeah, I just seen this pop up. I was like, damn. I actually want to see what this is about. Who uploaded this? Damon Vario. I haven't seen this guy before,
your
so
situation
it's a good,
worse.
interesting watch. Because why
While
not?
the average fan of true crime is acutely aware of this fact, the average person is not. In fact, 80% of individuals who have their Miranda rights read to them choose to waive their rights and talk to the police against their own self interest.
That's such a shame, bro. Because people like they want to trust the police, and I do too. But a lot of the times they're on their own side. They're not even like on our side. But there's a lot of good cops out there too. So I can't say that as like a 100% statement. Like there's a lot of them out there that are good cops. That want to actually help the world.
The presence of readily available and high profile police interrogation recordings online speaks to this statistic.
Yeah, probably Mario.
And
He
today,
probably did.
with most police interrogations being recorded, waiving your Miranda rights is essentially equivalent to consenting to your interrogation being made public. I've frequently questioned why suspects are so willing to forego their right to remain silent and right to legal counsel when confronted by detectives.
You should
Obvious
recommend me all
answers
the
that
true
come to most
crimes.
people's minds include believing that police are only there to help, social pressure from
See,
authority figures, and a sense of superiority.
I didn't know. I didn't hear, but I wonder where he got like that study from. I always wonder where like they take these kind of surveys or something like. They just go out into the world, or how does that work?
Such as thinking that one can outsmart the police. But an actual deep dive into the research on this subject has shed light on two other reasons for waiving one's Miranda
What do you mean,
rights when
Mario?
undergoing a police interrogation. One reason is simply misunderstanding your Miranda rights. Most Americans are not well versed on their constitutional rights and don't actually entirely understand the protection bestowed by the Fifth Amendment, even when read to them in the form of a Miranda warning.
Sometimes it's helpful to stay silent, man. Sometimes it really is. Until you know exactly what you're getting yourself into. You don't always have to try to prove your innocence right on the spot. It's just not the smartest way to go about things. You gotta make sure you think out what you're gonna say.
To further
The
complicate
algorithm.
matters, the average speed at which a
I
police
feel you.
officer reads a suspect the Miranda warning is 268 words per minute, 31% faster
That's hella fast, bro. What the hell? 260 words per minute. What are they saying? How?
than the
What?
average talking speed. This most certainly leads to a decay in comprehension. For many detectives, it's
I know we all seen 21 Jump Street, bro. I think it was 21 or 22 Jump Street. Either one, but when they're reacting or they're trying to get the Miranda rights like written down or whatever from Channing Tatum, and he doesn't know them. But that's how I learned them from that movie. That's when I started like oh shit, that shit actually it matters because the criminal got away. He got away because he didn't read him the rights. Like that's a big fucking deal.
seems the reading of a suspect's Miranda rights is a mere formality that is best performed swiftly so as to get on with the day.
Nope.
Another possible reason Miranda rights are so frequently waived is a misconception that silence can be used against you. In one study on invoking Miranda rights, it was found that 31% of defendants incorrectly believed that silence or the avoidance of a police interrogation upon request would result in them having evidence used against them at trial. That evidence, namely, being the fact that they avoided the interrogation or
That never made sense to me though, because how, because you said nothing, does that make you more guilty? Like, bruh, I didn't do nothing, so why am I gonna tell you anything? Like, I don't have to make stuff up for you to believe me, or I don't have to. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense.
remained silent during the interrogation. In fact, a suspect's silence is not commonly brought up as evidence in a court of law.
Good, good.
But even if silence is believed to be incriminating, a suspect can still speak to police with a lawyer present, thereby reducing the chances of self incrimination. Yet this rarely occurs, indicating a widespread
And that whole lawyer thing, that also sucks, because like most of the time they're gonna stall you out. If you don't have like your own lawyer or somebody to call, you're gonna get a public defender, and they're in no rush to get you a public defender. They're gonna switch you out and make you feel like, oh, I might as well just talk, or I might as well just not have my lawyer. Like, it's not, I didn't, it's nothing I did wrong. So, but they can like, it's all to trap you into a story, because that way, if you go to trial, they have things to use against you, and like any kind of crossroads that you like put out there. So you say it was 5 o'clock when you were here, and all of a sudden you're on trial. You said it was like 4:45. Well, 15 minutes, a lot can happen, bro. So you never want to like lock yourself into a story, especially if you don't know who you're dealing with,
misunderstanding of the U.S. legal
because detectives can be tricky.
system. The 20% of suspects who actually do invoke their Miranda rights are usually either legally educated, avid watchers of true crime on YouTube, or
Facts.
have been through the system more than once. This
True
last group is
crime.
the least
True
likely to
crime.
waive their Miranda rights, as they have been previously advised by their lawyers or public defenders to avoid speaking to the police. This brings us to our current case study, that of the rapper Dababy, aka Jonathan Lindale Kirk. Kirk, having been arrested for shooting a man, concealed weapon charges, and narcotics violations, had all the experience needed to know that talking to the police comes with many detriments while providing no benefits. Yet on January 2nd, 2020, DaBaby would be detained by the Miami police under suspicion of robbery and would subsequently waive his Miranda rights.
I never heard about that.
This is the story of a
What
man
did he
whose
rob?
ego, bolstered
Or
by
not
having
rob?
avoided severe legal penalties during his past infractions, being college educated, and being at the peak of his rap career, puts him at the risk of significant jail time simply by choosing not to invoke his Miranda rights.
Real G shit, I guess.
On January 2nd, 2020, Kirk, DaBaby, was scheduled to perform at Cafe Iguana Pines in Pembroke Pines, Florida. The arranged deal was a payment of $30,000 in exchange for Kirk's performance. Allegedly, Kirk met with the club's performer to receive his payment in cash. However, upon meeting Kirk outside Kirk's hotel, the club promoter claimed to only have $20,000 of the $30,000 payment. What is
10 grand short? 10 G short? I mean, hey, you pulled up for, it's like, yo, I didn't expect $30, bro. I didn't expect 20, bro. I was supposed to get 30. That 10 makes a difference for sure.
said to have occurred was Kirk threatening the promoter for the rest of the payment, followed by Kirk making good on his threat, with the promoter being beaten up and robbed.
Damn,
Kirk
baby.
allegedly took the promoter's credit card, his cash, and an iPhone.
Come on, bro. You could have just not performed, or you could have, like, damn, who am I to say, but you're a G for that, I guess. That's crazy. You're a savage.
While Kirk subsequently denied these allegations, video footage of the altercation exists.
Oh,
Unfortunately,
shit.
YouTube won't let me show it for reasons of violence.
I think I
The
remember
incident
seeing
is
this.
on my Patreon account for anyone
Lit.
subscribed there. But
Lit.
for those who are not subscribed, let me just give you a quick rundown. The incident was caught on film by two different sources, and put together, they tell the story pretty well, but neither definitively show the perpetrator to be Kirk.
Oh,
However,
clutch.
the tracksuit the perpetrator in the video is wearing
You know what they say? Believe what is it? Half of what you see and none of what you hear. So shit, bro. They don't have like a clear 4K picture of you, bro. Then hey, that ain't me. That could be anybody, bro.
Is the exact same one Kirk wears in the police interrogation you're about to see. But prior to talking to the
Savage.
police, Kirk is clean from a legal perspective. The situation prior to Kirk's arrest is a your word versus my word situation, with the
Mm-hmm.
victim
And they also say like eyewitness testimony is the lowest form of evidence that you can have. So that sucks.
pointing the finger at Kirk and Kirk denying any involvement. Without an objective witness who can identify Kirk, the prosecution faces an uphill battle in convicting him.
A good chunk of your time is actually
Ads.
spent writing emails.
Damn, I gotta
Don't
get premium. That's crazy. Wait, do I have? Let's skip it. Wait, my fault.
Assumption faces an uphill battle in convicting him. And thus, the detectives assigned to this case try for a confession via interrogation.
Mm-hmm.
It should be a long shot given Kirk's experience with the law. A wealthy rapper with a rap sheet should know better than to speak to the police. Of course,
You would
if this
hope.
were the case, we'd have no video to watch.
Yep.
Alas, Kirk waives his
Or
Miranda
react to.
rights, believing he can outsmart the police. And while he does play the game somewhat successfully, or some might say the detectives play their game not very well, as we will see shortly, Kirk is inevitably incriminating himself in this interrogation, giving the police cause that they previously had lacked. This interrogation, on the surface, seems to be Kirk beating the detectives at their own game, yet when you consider the alternative of remaining silent, you'll see that Kirk would have ultimately been better off evoking his right to an attorney.
Oh shit. What's the?
I'm gonna read you your rights. Okay, I need you to acknowledge them as I read them. You have the right to remain silent. Do you understand that right? I need you to say yes. I don't. The recorder's not gonna pick up. Yes.
I heard it perfectly fine.
Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. Do you understand that? Okay. You have the right to talk to a lawyer for advice before we ask you any questions. Do you understand that? Okay. You have the right to have a lawyer present with you during questioning. Do you understand that?
My guy's trying to say it so fast, he's stumbling over his own words like me right there. Like, come on, bruh. Take your time.
If you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, one will be appointed to represent you before any questioning. If you
Hi, lawyer.
Do you understand that?
Hi, lawyer.
You can decide at any time to exercise these rights and not answer any questions or make any statements. Do you understand that? Okay, do you understand each of these rights as I explained them to you? Yeah. Okay, I'm going to check the yes box. Having these rights in mind, do you wish to talk to us now? Yeah. Okay, do me a favor, sign right here on the X that you agree to speak to us.
That guy's left-handed? Oh,
Next to
okay.
your name, I need you to date it, January 2nd,
Didn't even know what day it was.
8:07 p.m. You don't have any influence on drugs or alcohol right now, right? At this moment. No. Okay, when was the last time you took anything drug, alcohol related? Last year. Last year. Okay.
It should be noted that the date of the interrogation is January 2nd. Kirk's answer of last year was quite smart, as it technically is correct, yet gives the listener the feeling that significant time has passed, when in fact it's only been a couple days. The detective's missed opportunity to call out Kirk on this answer really sets the tone for the rest of this interview. Throughout this interview, you will hear many lies by omission, statements that are true but hide essential facts, such as the fact that last year could have been as recent as 2 days ago. Kirk
Damn,
has a
that's
habit of
crazy.
giving statements that are technically correct, but simultaneously obscure the truth that the detectives are seeking.
He's playing the
He actually
game.
does this once before the interview begins when the police are escorting him to the interrogation room. Kirk hints that the robbery charge is absurd because of him being on the Forbes list. The most common Forbes list is a list of the richest people in America, and this is likely the list that Kirk wants the police to think of. However, Kirk only appears on the Forbes 30 under 30 list, which is merely a list of successful people under the age of 30, without respect for financial wealth. Again, Kirk technically tells the truth, but with an ulterior intent.
I wonder if he's
The
really
detectives
thinking that
pass
way,
up
though.
this and several more opportunities to call Kirk out, requesting precise details. As you will see in this interview, a combination of sly word choice on Kirk's part, mixed with a low aggression strategy on the detective's part, leads to the police receiving relatively little information from Kirk.
So you understand the
Good on
questions
him.
that we're asking you and everything that we're speaking clearly to you? Yeah. Okay. What was the last grade you completed in school? Say what? The last grade you completed in school? School, in high school or whatever. 3 years in college. 3 years of college, okay. We're just trying to make sure you understood everything.
Oh, okay.
It might be said that detectives are underestimating Kirk's intelligence
You
here
could
by
tell off the
implying
bit,
that he had
off the
not
rip.
finished high school.
That's what I'm
Kirk
saying,
counters
bro.
with 3 years in college, with a tone that says, "Don't look down upon me." The initial
Facts.
paradigm of this interview seems to be one of mutual disrespect, with the detectives looking down on Kirk, perhaps because of his profession or because of his arrogant attitude, and Kirk responds by looking down at the detectives for asking him questions that demean him and questions to which they already have the answers. The atmosphere of this interrogation is quite different from what most detectives seek, one of false friendliness. At the very outset, Kirk's attitude tells detectives that the Reed technique rapport building methods typically applied at the beginning of a police interrogation are not likely to be effectively applied here. Thus, the detectives have one extremely effective tool robbed from their toolbox.
Facts. Can't lose your fucking tools, bro.
Okay.
You gotta have your bag of tricks ready to go.
An incident occurred at the hotel, 1500 Southwest First Avenue, that you were there for, correct?
What incident?
An incident. You had an altercation with somebody?
No.
You didn't. Did you have a business dealing with somebody?
No.
You didn't.
No.
So somebody didn't bring you $20,000 in front of the hotel in your SUV?
No.
They did.
No.
Okay.
Somebody bring $20,000 that wasn't theirs and lied to them and told them that it was for an event of theirs on the 31st. And lied to them. That person, once he realized they were doing bad business, said nah and left with his $20,000.
Okay, so you didn't count.
And got my contact information to do business the right way. That's what happened. The people that got y'all put me in handcuffs, they the crooks. They the criminals. That's what I'm telling y'all, bro.
Okay, so you
At this point in the interrogation, Kirk's position is nearly as good as if he had declined the interrogation. He denies knowledge of any incident occurring at the hotel, denies having an altercation, and denies engaging in any business. Yet his resentment from the non-existent business meeting gets the better of him, and he immediately feels the need to clarify that someone was engaging in bad business practices. His emotions got the better of him. Hence, Kirk throws out a lead to the detectives, and just like that, the detectives have an angle from which to approach the questioning. If the detectives had received a firm no to these questions instead of receiving volunteered information, they would have hit a dead end.
didn't count
Look like I
$20,000?
need $20,000.
Did you count $20,000 in your
No,
SUV?
I did.
Thank you, Marlon.
Yeah.
You did. Okay. Around what time was this, sir?
I don't know. Whatever time they chose it.
So you're saying that you weren't
Whatever time the camera showed me not robbing no damn body that
Okay.
time.
Now, were you there
Was I where?
at the location where the $20,000 was being discussed?
I just told y'all they attempted to pay me $20,000 of somebody else's money, which I could have took.
This is Kirk's first big mistake. In his prior description of the business meeting, he avoided using first-person pronouns, giving himself plausible deniability. That is, he made it known to the detectives that he was aware of the business meeting, but had not admitted his physical presence. However,
Bro, the English language, like you gotta know, you gotta finesse these words, bro, because there's a lot of ways to say things without saying things, if that makes sense. Like, for example, that you didn't have to say I, you know. You could have just said which could have been taken. But yeah, like, especially when you're in like an interrogation room like that, I don't feel like you should, if you're trying to deny probable cause or whatever, you don't want to use I statements and put yourself at a bigger risk of getting involved in the situation when he had currently said that he wasn't even there, or he wasn't involved in that way that they're trying to say that he was.
However, along with his agenda to portray the other side of the business deal as a so called crook, Kirk affirms his physical presence at the meeting. Prior to this statement, the detectives did not have evidence to place Kirk at the scene of the crime. Now the
So
police have reason to arrest Kirk. Remember
just 'cause
that
he was
Kirk has been
there.
brought into the police station under suspicion of robbery. However, one commonly applied technique of police interrogations is to use the interrogation to coax out evidence to charge the suspect with a lesser crime, will allow the police to further detain the suspect. The detectives currently lack evidence necessary for a conviction.
I'm learning. I'm learning here as like myself. Just I don't ever want to get into these type of situations, but if I do, just to be a little bit more well-rounded, like knowledgeable, about these kinds of things and issues, because you never know what you can be, what can happen. You never know.
Conviction of a robbery, evidence such as Kirk being in possession of the victim's credit card or iPhone. However, they now have enough evidence to hold Kirk for battery. Were Kirk to have insisted that he was not present at the place of the crime, he would have likely been released. However, his agenda of portraying his business partner as a shady person prevails over his agenda of walking away from the interrogation freely. In his word salad of bad mouthing his business partner, he let it slip that he was physically present at the crime scene.
They tried to give it to me. Once I saw that it wasn't good business being done, what's going on? Y'all clear up what y'all got going on. They couldn't clear it up because they was doing bad business.
Okay, so
Not only they was doing bad business from the get go, and when the person caught on to them doing bad business, he got his money from them, and he left, and he got the contact information to book me the correct way.
okay, who was he?
I don't know. You got to ask them what's they from. They bring. I don't know the two dudes that was there.
No names, no nothing.
No, I know the name is in my phone. It's been texting me, blowing me up all day.
Okay.
Trying to swindle me. The nigga who got enough credibility to make the Miami Police Department put me in custody, got me in robbery, and questioning me. Okay. Oh, bro, do I look like I need to take anything from anybody? Come on, bro, it's common sense. It's common sense. It's common sense. You know what I made to even be down here? A promoter booked me at that hotel. I didn't pay to be at the hotel. That was paid for. You'd have let me in my room, you would have saw close to $250,000 cash, legally, hard-earned money. I don't got to take nothing from nobody, bro.
Well, let me ask you this:
I will go outside of here right now and throw $10,000 in the air. Like, I do not.
Could not have robbed the victim. His reasoning is that he has so much money that were he stiffed 10,000,
Which is never a good reason. It's like that common saying of, bro, why would I lie? Why would I lie? Like, bro, it doesn't matter why you would lie. It's not. You could lie for multiple reasons. There's unlimited reasons to lie. Just saying, bro, why would I lie? It's not a good exit strategy, or it's not a. I don't think so. What's the
it would mean nothing to him. In other words, Kirk has no motive for robbery. However, the prosecution does not need to prove motive. Having a motive can be useful for the prosecution in that it helps convincing a jury, but a motive is ultimately not necessary for a conviction. Because Kirk does not know this, he is speaking a lot in an attempt to prove lack of motive, which is good for the detectives, but not for Kirk.
I don't.
Was there an argument?
No, it was an argument. I didn't argue with a soul. I didn't argue with a soul. My voice was never raised. It was never aggressive language for me. None of that.
Was there a fight?
None of that. No, I ain't seen no fight. And nothing's taken. We shouldn't be in no robbery yet, bro. So when y'all get done doing what y'all doing, y'all need to do y'all job. Y'all need to follow y'all process. And y'all need to arrest whoever gave y'all these false allegations, bro. This is bullshit. This bullshit, bro. This shit that cost me already $50,000. Already, bro. Bullshit. This shit is bullshit, bro. It is. This is bullshit.
Okay, where were you at?
Bottom line, they calling my phone. I don't know where I was on Thursday. I'm not keeping track of where I'm at because I'm not out here living the wrong way, bro.
Okay, when I encountered you in the hotel, you came back to the concierge, the counter. Yeah. Where were you coming from at that point?
Prime seafood. Prime, whatever the hell I went to eat. I went to get some food.
Where is that?
I don't know, bro.
You don't know?
No.
How'd you get there?
in the car.
What kind of car? Was it a car you drove? Somebody else drove?
A Uber, bro.
An Uber?
Yeah,
What kind of car was it?
an Uber.
Small car, SUV, truck, what?
I don't know.
Most viewers will surmise that Kirk is lying about taking an Uber to go eat. The detectives have too. Upon discovering a potential lie, detectives will ask for details.
Yeah, I say like an Uber receipt, it'll tell you, bro. So if they really got down to it, they can see if he really took an Uber. And I mean, I don't know. I think lying to a police officer is already that's a crime on its own. So you don't want to do that either. Just say less. Say less.
Both to disprove the lie later and to lock the suspect into a specific story that is likely to be contradicted later.
Telling
The
y'all,
natural
that's really taken to
inclination
trial.
of a lying suspect is to follow the detective's lead, specifying details. Studies in psychology have shown us that liars believe that adding more details to a false story makes it believable.
Oh, don't they
Kirk
think that?
intelligently avoids this trap.
I know all about that.
Instead, he just gives up on the lie, throwing his hands in the air and saying, I don't know. In a normal conversation, we might feel vindicated, as if we had just caught Kirk in a lie. But in the interrogation room, Kirk made the right decision, redirecting the detectives to the crime itself. More suspects should employ this method, in my opinion. It's like an interrogation room karate move. Just throw your hands up in the air, exclaim, I don't know, and you will have successfully befuddled the police. It's really a move with no downsides. Good job, Kirk. Still, oddly enough, the detectives choose not to press Kirk on the details, though they easily could have. The detectives could have requested Kirk's Uber history,
They're like nervous
or
themselves.
called the restaurant to confirm his alibi after obtaining
See?
more details about Kirk's actions prior to
I'm
the
saying,
crime.
bro. I'm saying.
Whether it can be attributed to a mistake on the detective's part or the power of Kirk's charisma is up for debate.
Let's talk about what matters. Let's
Well, that's why we're here.
Let's talk about what y'all need to get me about this. When I'm driving in the car, what I went to go eat, what time I went, that don't got nothing to do with the fact I ain't robbed a damn soul. Me, nobody around me, ain't nobody robbing nobody.
Let's take the word robbery out of the picture.
So while we here, we taking the word robbery out of the picture. Y'all are robbery detectives. This is robbery unit. That's the second word he said. That's the second word he said when he came in here. Robbery. Come on, bro.
I like this response from Kirk. It's quick and witty, but it unfortunately also puts Kirk's ignorance on display, because as stated previously, he is here at least for the crime of battery. The detectives again were sloppy here by revealing their hand via the statement, let's take robbery off the table.
He told me he has to question me about a robbery when I walk in my hotel. Robbery? I had every answer to the question you needed right there. Whoa, that ain't it. That's false. Throw that out the window. We talking about robbery, bro. It's nothing for me to talk about. I didn't rob.
So do you think that we just woke up this morning and decided to just...
I think y'all got a phone call from somebody that's already a liar. I know they're a liar. Got a phone call from somebody that's a liar and y'all bought it. Y'all believed it. Y'all got me in here and y'all put me in handcuffs. Brought me outside the hotel in handcuffs, cameras and shit all on me. Come on, bro. This shit is bad for what I got going on. And I ain't even do shit to that man. They the crooks. They the crooks. They already mentioned it, $20,000 is somebody else's money. They tried to act like
So you're telling us that whole incident happened.
Well,
so the whole $20,000. We're talking about the same thing. We're talking about when
we talking about janky promoters, bro.
Okay.
That's what we talking about.
That's what I'm talking about.
So
you're telling me that whole incident happened.
We talking about criminals. When I do business, it's legally binding. It's legally binding. Everything I do, you have to sign a contract.
Kirk continually refers to crooks and criminals as a form of misdirection. He believes that portraying the other side of the business deal as a party likely to engage in crime will make the detectives shift their focus away from Kirk. However, this strategy proves useless, as the detectives have already interviewed the other side of the business deal. Indeed, the other side is the victim and the one who filed the police report that led to Kirk being detained. There is simply no one to follow up on, which is why the detectives are not seriously requesting more information on the so-called crooks. Instead, they humor Kirk with a few questions about the business deal, hoping that he will reveal new information about his involvement in the hotel meeting.
You got to sign a contract.
Okay,
it's a contract
you're
right now.
That whole incident happened and nothing went wrong. Nothing happened. There was no,
Not to my knowledge.
there was no fight. There was no
Bro, I
scuffle.
seen that code,
I
bro.
ain't fight nobody.
Seen that code.
I ain't fight nobody.
Am I about to pull up a video or something? You don't even know where your apps is at? This fool didn't check nothing.
I ain't fight nobody. I ain't take nothing from nobody.
Why did he pull his phone out? He didn't even check
Only
nothing.
two questions is, did
He's
I see
bored?
you get asked, bro?
So why would someone say that you did?
You gotta bring him in here, ask him that. Bring him in here, but it don't matter. Regardless of what y'all got going on, see, this is why you do business the right way, which is not the way they was doing it. His name's on the contract, bro. So I'm gonna sue him anyway.
What was his name?
I'm gonna sue him anyways. Whoever y'all talking to, whoever you tell me his name.
So who'd you sign a contract with?
I don't sign the contracts. I'm the performer. I don't sign the contracts.
So your management team signed the contract.
Yes.
Who in your management team signed the contract with who? They don't tell you who you performing
We don't sign the contracts. We draw them up.
That's what I'm thinking, bro. I think they're fans. Like, they're nervous to talk to him or something.
Y'all let me know, bro, when y'all done with the mind game questions, bro. I don't got time for that. You know who he is. Whoever made the report.
There's no mic.
Whoever made the report. Whoever made the report, bro. Y'all don't gotta act like y'all know less than what y'all know. Whoever made the report, but y'all know it's too much. Y'all know too many lies. You get what I'm saying? That's why y'all gotta move backwards like that, bro. Like
you're saying that they're lies, but you don't know what we have or don't know.
Okay. I know if y'all had proof of me robbing somebody, we wouldn't even be talking. Y'all would cuff me. I would be charged with it. That's what I know, bro.
This is actually false.
What?
If detectives have undeniable proof of Kirk's guilt in robbery, they would still engage in an interrogation. From a resource perspective, this is because a confession is significantly more cost-effective than undergoing litigation to prove a suspect guilty to a jury. It is wrong to assume that if police want to talk to you, they have no evidence against you. In fact, police will often
I'm learning here too, bro. I'm learning here too.
What they have as evidence, dangling it as bait for suspects who want to talk to the police as a way of understanding just how much and what kind of evidence the police are holding. In other words, it's bait for people who want to know how much trouble they are likely to be in. The detective in this interrogation attempts just this, actually, in stating, "We don't know what we have." Of course, this fishing expedition fails right at the outset, as Kirk immediately makes it clear that he believes the interrogation itself is proof that detectives have no evidence on him. Ironically enough, the detective's strategy fails due to Kirk's ignorance of the interrogation strategies.
That's what I know. I ain't know
your side of the story.
My side of the story, I ain't done that. I don't have a side of the story because I ain't done nothing to nobody. Bro.
So that's what I was
and before something could be done to me,